Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a quick flip through for you today of my finished journal for Who You Are from Bythewell4god. I worked in an altered book this month, and you can see it ended up quite chunky, partially because there's only like a 1-inch spine here, 1 1/4, not a huge spine, but I did have enough room to do what I wanted to do in it. But it's very chunky, which is just how I like it. I do have a process video showing how I set up this altered book if you've not seen that process before, and then a playlist of all of the process videos and everything. I will link that down in the description. I also have close-up pictures of every day over on my Instagram channel. If you're not following me over there, or my Instagram page, I am Minders78 over there. So follow me over there if you want to see some other close-up photos of these pages. I'm just going to go through here kind of quickly. This is day 1. Created a little bit of a background here with that sunflower stencil, and then I used this pattern paper. I just cut out this little section right here, and I used that for a pocket. So all of my notes for this day are in here and in this file folder. They're just, you know, written on the back of all of these pieces, kind of pretty typical for how I work through these devotionals. I really love these labels that have the verse already written out. So the flashcard that kind of coordinated with that is in here. It doesn't have, it's this one, I believe. Yeah. So I don't have it written down, but I did want to keep the flashcard in here. So even though the verse is over there. So anyway, that was day 1. This is day 2. There is a process video for this one. This is just some background. This kind of went through an ordeal if you watch that video, but ended up basically with some texture paste and some distress colors over the top of that. I have a little vellum pocket here. I added one of the clear stickers, and then one of the file folders that has all of my notes in there. Another one of those beautiful labels with the verse already typed out. I love those so much. So day 3 was titled Bride and Heir. I used the ephemera pieces to create pockets here, and I also used the book when I created this altered book. I made sure that some of the pages had pockets in them. It's how I folded and glued the papers together. So this one already had a pocket here, so that worked well for these long tags that I have. And I do have a process video showing this particular sunflower stencil. Someone had asked me for some ideas on how to use that stencil. So there is a video that I have just of creating with this stencil in different ways, and you'll see most of those tags in this journal as well. But I also had so many notes that I created a little pocket behind this ephemera piece and behind this one as well, just to hold everything. Excuse me. And then this was actually one of the background stamps that was like the mixed media marks one from earlier in this year, which I just love it, and I keep it on my desk. Sorry, I had to take a drink. I keep it on in my little craft cart because I use this particular stamp all the time. It just adds a great background. So this is day 4. I just have a little pocket here. This was one of the ephemera pieces that went with like a quote from this particular day. And then I have my notes in here as well. And that's just tucked in here for day 5. Because I didn't have a ton of notes for day 4, I didn't make a 2-page spread, but for day 5, I had quite a lot of notes. But I did take advantage of the fact that this is basically a double pocket. I don't know how well you can see that, but when I created this day, I made a pocket, and so then I was able to actually make a second pocket out of the book paper as well. I just kind of folded it in on itself. I have some washi tape, that's the faux washi strips on here, and you can see it kind of holds all my notes in here, just in a fun way. And then I used that same sunflower stencil. I used it a lot this month, and just some distress paint to create a background here. And then I kind of reinforced this pocket with that wood grain pattern paper, and then used the label here for the title, which was Salt and Light, and then another one of those beautiful labels with the verses on it. So day 6 is another one that had a built-in kind of pocket here, but I did go ahead and add in this file folder. And then there was actually this poem that was part of the book, and so when I was getting ready to glue everything down, I really didn't want to cover up this. It was actually part of like a song from the book. Anyway, I just didn't want to cover it up. So I just kind of created the page around it, which seems a little off balance, but it was just because of, it was so perfect with this on here. I just wanted to leave it there. So it doesn't have really anything to do even with the theme. I just thought it was cool because it says in here at the end of it, then said, "The God of God's peace, it is I." And so I just wanted to leave that in there. And I know that might seem strange, but anyway, I have this pocket over here on the side. Again, I have another one of the tags that I created in that one video. And actually on this one, I took that one of the flashcards that had this verse on it, and I actually just cut out this part from the flashcard and put it on here because that's actually the verse that I wrote out. So I tucked that back in there. I tucked another piece here behind this piece of ephemera, and then the rest are tucked in here in this file folder. So day 7, I used the ledger stamp, which I am in love with that ledger stamp so much. It's just the perfect ledger for a background, and some paint in the back there to just kind of mute everything back since I'm working in an altered book. And then I have some notes that I wanted to kind of include on this day. So these are some points that were made in the devotional, and then this were just some thoughts that I wanted to write down. And then I used one of the journaling cards actually, and I just cut it out. I cut a little half circle out of there and then made this into a pocket to hold all of my notes for this day. And I used those big tile alphas, which is another one of my current favorite things. I love those so much. Day 8 actually has a process video. This is one of the Hubby Dubs videos, and I used a lot of texture paste and different things on here, and I colored it with some acrylic inks, and then I went back over it with a pen, a big brush marker, because when you do that over a non-porous surface like that, you have just a few seconds where you can kind of smear and smudge around, and it just gave a little bit more dimension and detail to these leaves from this stencil. This is actually the Dahlia stencil from a while back. And so I just wanted to use that on here. And anyway, there is a process video, like I said, and then just a couple more pockets, always pockets and notes with my journals here. Day 9, again, I used that pattern paper, but I didn't want to cover too much of it up. So I added a little clear vellum envelope here for some flashcards, and then over on this side I just used pattern paper. Here's another one of those tags from that video. Just got a longer verse. These actually worked great because there were some that had just a longer section of scripture, so I was able to write those out on there. And then the journaling card, and then just one of the little pieces of ephemera. And so one of the things that I did a lot this month with these ephemera pieces, because they're white and I didn't want to fussy cut them all the way down, is I actually used this Tombow. It's the 990 color, and I was able to just kind of go around, and it matched almost perfectly the color of the patina of the book that I'm working in. So it just kind of knocked back the white without me having to really fussy cut it, and it didn't take away the color or whatever. I just kind of went around the edge of the ephemera that way, and it just kind of toned back some of the white that way. Day 10 was titled Soldier, Athlete, and Farmer. This is one that I used the Harlequin stencil, and I actually used kind of the reverse side of it. And I know that it's hard to tell, but I actually painted with peeled paint onto the stencil and then pressed it down, and it gave it a really like distressed look, but also gave me the kind of look, just a different style that I was looking for. So, and then I just created a couple corner pockets here with some pattern paper. I have ephemera pieces. You can see there's what I was talking about with that marker, and then all of my notes are just tucked inside of this one. And then day 11, again, I used a pattern paper just to create long pockets on both sides. And then I did add a little bit of paint to this background, again, to really knock back the text, because I didn't want all of that to be really visible. You can still tell that there's book paper back there, but you can't read what it says. And then I have one of those labels here that's just kind of keeping this pocket closed. And then in this one, I have another one of those tags, and I probably should have put something on there, but and a couple of verses on the back of those. Those tags, actually having those done ahead of time really came in handy this month because I used, I think, all but one of them. Day 12 is kind of a different page. I wanted to just sort of try something. So I used this stamp, trying to remember what it's called. I have it right here, this one. And because I was working in an altered book, I wanted to be able to kind of keep the text but not really be able to read it. So I stamped over this in archival brown, in ground espresso, and then I painted around the edge with the Dina Wakley sand color because it was really similar to the background. And then I went through and actually just watercolored in here, and then I went over that with some little white with my gel pen just to give it some highlights. And then I tried to kind of pull this green over into this back page over here. You can kind of see I had stamped this, but I was going to do this on both sides and it didn't stamp very well, so I just kind of went over that with a wash of green paint to kind of pull this green from this journaling card. So you can't really tell as much that it was not stamped very well. I could have covered it up completely, but I like how it looks in the kind of juxtaposition of the two pages. And then again, I have one of those tags that has a longer set of scripture in there that was from that same video that I keep talking about. And then this day I really wanted to kind of do a little almost subtitle, I guess, because this day was really talking about, we're called being kings and priests, but really that is a servant leadership position. And so I wanted to make sure to include that here with those big alphas, tile alphas. I actually mixed the tile alphas and the larger ones there. Day 13 is a really simple page. I'm trying to get everything to the end, trying to get this finished. I'm about to go out of town, and so I need to be kind of finished with this devotional before I leave. And so I just created a couple simple pages. Again, I have just one of the pattern papers. I have one of the tags that I created with a couple of the verses on the back, and that is just the for day 13. All of my notes fit in here, and again I have one of those beautiful labels with the verse on it. And then day 14 just had a couple of verses in the conclusion, and then it had this piece that I felt like just kind of wrapped everything up, so I included that on here. I used the ephemera piece for the two flashcards that have the verses on the back and just kept this really, really simple. I did go ahead and leave this white instead of coloring it like with that marker, simply because my label is white and also this edge around here was white, and I just felt like it helped kind of break up some of the color just a little bit. So anyway, I do have a few pages back here at the end where I didn't use them because I hadn't, I didn't do double page spreads for every single day. And that's just fine. I could, if I wanted to, I could glue these together and then you'd never know. I'm not worried about it. It's just going to stay the way that it is. So anyway, that is it. That is all for me for Who You Are from Bythewell4god for this month. So if you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.